So how's it going, YouTube? Here's a video on should you track fiber calories or not. So I've compiled a bunch of information here. I'm going to go back and forth between talking to you guys directly and just reading some of the information I have. And hopefully you learned something. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you do like the channel. And if you have any suggestions, go ahead and comment them below or just message me directly. Also, I have an Instagram, Dr. Jake Official, that you can go check out. I haven't been posting there very much because I've been on vacation, but I'll put out a video showing you guys why I haven't been posting very much very soon. So here we go. So should you track fiber calories? So fiber is broadly defined as a non-starch polysaccharide, or a carbohydrate we talk about, and they're extremely varied in class of substances with different physicochemical properties depending on their chemical arrangement. So due to these differences, the net energy content can vary significantly, which is why understanding the type of fiber that you're ingesting is very important to deciding whether you should track it or not. So higher energy content fibers can include fiber from fruits, while lower net energy fibers can include rye and then some dense cereals. And when I say net, I mean how many calories is your body actually adding to itself after digestion and after all this stuff. So if I take something, like let's say I take a pill of something that is 1,000 calories, but your body doesn't digest it, it just goes all the way through and then, you get rid of it. That was a net zero, even though you swallowed something that had 1,000 calories in it. It doesn't mean your body's actually absorbing the 1,000 calories. So the reason for this is that fiber contains a unique blend of bioactive components that can include resistant starches, vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and antioxidants. Before we get into talking about tracking versus not tracking, though, it's important to note that many epidemiological and clinical studies have found that fiber consumption is inversely related to incidence of obesity, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and cardiovascular disease. Calories aren't the end-all and be-all of health. But today we're talking about tracking versus not tracking, so let's get into it. So in general, dietary fiber is the edible parts of plants that are resistant to digestion, absorption in the small intestine. A few things dietary fiber can be broken down into will be on the screen here, but I'm going to just run through some of the names. Arabinoxolin, inulin, pectin, bran, cellulose, beta-glucan, and resistant starches. So now, how can they play a role in weight reduction or weight attenuation? So weight attenuation is kind of your ability to control your weight. The first paper I have linked below details how soluble fiber, when fermented in the large intestine, produces something called glucagon-like peptide, or GLP-1, and peptide YY, or PYY. These two gut hormones play a significant role in inducing satiety. So if you're eating higher fiber foods, then you're less likely to overeat, or you're more likely to eat less during the day. Satiety is when you feel full, or at the very least when you don't feel like continuing eating. Second, some studies have shown that dietary fiber eaten along with dietary fats can reduce the absorption of the fats as well, reducing net caloric intake and improving bowel movements. So if you reference back to the video I did talking about glucomannan is pretty much just a fiber supplement, and it has effects on all of these things we're going to talk about today. I do not track my glucomannan tablets just because I know a significant portion of that isn't being digested, and it's such a small amount of calories. Like maybe at the end of the day it's like 7 calories or something. I don't even track it. Due to this, many studies have also shown that a consumption of high fiber foods has shown to create a reduced metabolizable energy equation in the body, which is your gross energy intake minus the energy lost in your feces, urine, and combustible gases. So compared with digestible carbohydrates like non-resistant starches and sugars, fiber has a very low energy density, a high resistance to digestion, and it reduces your appetite. So all of these things combined helps you reduce the amount of calories your body is actually storing. Some fibers, called soluble fibers, either absorb water and become gels. So that's another one I talked about, glucomannan, and its effect on weight regulation, or dissolve in water and reach the intestine where they're digested by different bacterias. So we have a lot of bacterias in our intestine that can ferment foods and digest them, that can do all kinds of cool stuff. So there are some fibers that actually do get partially digested by those bacteria. The FDA estimates that fibers fermented by bacteria provide about 2 calories per gram of fiber, while insoluble fibers travel to the intestine with very little change. Instead of being digested, insoluble fiber just increases your bulk of your stool, softens it, and then shortens transit time through the gastrointestinal tract. Because these fibers are not digested at all, the FDA estimates that insoluble fiber do not contribute any calories. So if you're tracking a soluble fiber, the FDA recommends to track 2 calories per gram. If you're tracking insoluble, it's 0. The FDA recommends that an adult get about 14 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories consumed. So, doing the math, if your average dietary fiber ends up giving you 2 calories per gram and you eat double the recommended at 28 grams per day, that would account for about 50 calories per day of dietary fiber that may or may not actually be giving you calories. So if you get 28 grams of fiber a day, which I know if you're on the standard American diet or you just started eating healthy and you haven't really incorporated a lot of high fiber foods, you're probably not even getting 28 grams. So all of your fiber combined for the whole day would be less than 50 calories. So it's really up to you whether you want to track that or not. And I'm assuming if you're at the point where your fiber isn't high and you're on a standard American diet or you're not tracking super intensely, then you're not really in a place where you even need to worry about something that's less than 50 calories if you're only having that like once per day. Now, obviously, if you have like 7 50-calorie snacks and you eat them throughout the day, then you should track that because that ends up being 350 calories, which is significant. But if it's just fiber, you don't really have to track. So in conclusion, it's very important to have a basic understanding of exactly which types of fibers you're ingesting if you're planning on tracking the calories of it or not. Soluble versus insoluble. Are you having it from fruits? Are you having it from grains? Are you having it from, green vegetables, stuff like that? At the end of the day, the amount of calories you're getting from fiber, even if it's digested, even if it's soluble, isn't very much if you're sticking to the daily recommended of 14 grams per 1,000 calories or less, stuff like that. If you're having a lot of fiber, like 80, 100 grams, you should probably track it, but most people don't get that much. I wouldn't even recommend trying to get that much. Beyond this, it seems based on literature that it's not necessary to count fiber calories, especially dense plant fibers in your calories. The University of California, San Francisco actually recommends through their medical program, and I got this from their website, and they've posted a couple papers about it, that diabetics not even count dietary fiber as carbohydrate intakes when attempting to regulate their blood glucose, because it has such an insignificant effect, or no effect at all, that they don't even need to account for it. So that is the video today. Hopefully it kind of helped you decide whether you want to track fiber calories or not, but personally I don't. I just scan it, put it in, and if it tracks it, it does. If it doesn't, whatever. But hopefully you'll have a little bit more information to make that decision. I'll see you guys in the next video.